Carl Edwards. I think Carl's last today, actually. But you were first yesterday when you jumped off the stratosphere. Did everybody see that?
Yeah, if anybody has a little spare time in Vegas, go for it. That's pretty wild. Big time. It's fun.
What's your take on Pheonix early today?
Yeah. What's that?
What's your take on Pheonix? Yeah.
It's good. The tire seems to work really well. The cars are fast, and I'm just glad to be here. I love racing here. I mean, this is fun. It's Subway weekend. We've got the Subway Ford Fusion. We've got a Ford Mustang that's pretty fast on the nationwide side. I'm excited to race here.
And you're going to cater lunch Sunday, right?
Yeah, right. If anybody needs a sandwich, you know where to find it.
We'll start with Reed, Dustin, and then work our way to Jim.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Carl, Trevor mentioned earlier that you had called him and basically were trying to discuss, what could I have done to have beaten you?
Right.
Are you still bothered by that?
Of course, I'm still bothered by that. Damn. I mean, I've thought about it a lot, and I watched replay a couple times. There's a lot of things I could have done differently. I'm certain one of those things would have, meant that I would have had a better chance of winning the race. But as I look back on it, I think I made the best decision I could have made there at the time, and in the end, it kind of ensured a Ford, would win the race. But yeah, I mean, I just hope to be in that position a number of times. I think if I can do that a number of times, then one of them will win. The trick is to be around at the end like that. But I got to say, this week, I did think about it a lot, and I thought about it from different points of view the best I could. And I was inspired by Trevor this week. I mean, not as a competitor, but as a person. I mean, it was neat to see a guy so happy about winning a race, and to see a guy who seemed to handle it so well. I mean, that was really an inspiring thing. It made me excited to come here and race. It made me feel good about racing and feel good about this thing that we do every week. That was pretty cool.
Dustin
Long, Landmark Newspapers. Two things, Carl. One, in light of what you did yesterday, could you imagine doing something like Andy Lally has done and do street luge racing? And that kind of stuff. And secondly, more serious question is off of what happened at Daytona, as the series moves to Talladega, what are things that NASCAR needs to look at or should consider, figuring you're going to have the same type of racing, whether it's the radio communications between the drivers or things with the cars?
Is Andy Lally doing some street luge stuff? At least with that, I would feel like I had, I mean, there's wheels involved, there's pavement and all of that. I feel like I could maybe... I might do better at that. At least I might not do better. I might be less nervous. That thing yesterday, you guys, when they first said, hey, you're going to jump off the stratosphere, they showed me a video of it. I thought, that's no big deal. You're all strapped in. I mean, it's not like you're free-falling or something. And literally, when I was standing, I mean, I was 50-50. Like, if there weren't all those cameras and stuff, I might have just said, I think I'll just go back down. I don't want to, like the slow way. I did not want to jump off that thing. It was one of the most exhilarating things I've ever done. So that was it was really fun. As far as what NASCAR can do, I do not know. I don't know if what we did on Sunday is safer than the way it used to be. I don't know what the answer is. I think the only thing that we really can do and that we need to do is we need to explain to our fans better what is going on. We need them to understand that is a different style of racing. I think it's very confusing, and I've had to kind of explain it all week. And it kind of puts us all in a little bit of a tough position because the drivers and the teams and maybe you guys all understand that's not a race in the classic sense. But the average person watching doesn't realize that. So they have all these questions, and you can't. It's just hard to explain. So I think we need to do a better job of explaining that style of racing to our fans if we're going to continue to do it. As far as making it different, better, safer, I don't have an answer to that.
Let's go Massaro, Pockrass, Lewis, and Claire.
You kind of led me right into this about how last week was a pretty unique style of racing.
Right.
A lot of people seem to describe race 2 on the schedule as the beginning of the real season. How do you feel?
I think that's one way to look at it. It's really auto racing is about driving down in the corner and managing the throttle and the brakes and the grip of the tires. That's what I feel like that's what racing is about. Now, you can't argue that cars running 2x2 at 202 miles an hour, at Daytona, that's racing too. It is a different style of racing. That style of racing, we only have it 4 times a year. The other 32 times they are races like this. So this really is the style of track that you need to be good at, and this is the start of the season that you can control more. That race on Sunday that's a tough one. That's a tough one to be in control of your own destiny, your own fate.
Bob, raise your hand for microphone.
Bob Hockris, SingDaily.com. I mean, do you feel like favorite here coming in after winning the last 2 races last year? And I also wanted to ask you about 40 cars in the Nationwide Series. Do you feel like it's a sign of an issue, or is it just a matter of the new car?
I didn't know there was only 40 cars. There's 40 cars here entered in the race. That's too bad. What was the first part? Do I feel like the favorite? Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to be here. I mean, I feel like we ran so well in the Nationwide car, so well in the Cup car at the last event. I don't know if I'm a favorite. I'm planning on winning the race. I don't know if that's going to work out like that. But the biggest thing is that we'd love to get the win in the Subway car. That'd be huge. I don't feel like there's a track in the first half of the season, at least, that we have a better shot at winning. I have a lot of confidence here, I guess, is a way to put it. As far as 40 cars, I don't know. I don't know the reasons exactly, what's behind that, but I hope that we can have full field at Las Vegas.
Lewis, Claire, and then Lee.
Yeah, Lewis Frank Reuters. Carl, you drive race cars for a living. Now you've jumped off the stratosphere. When your children turn teenagers, what are you going to tell them if they want to do something risky?
I've thought about that a little bit, actually. My daughter seems to already be kind of a risk taker. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe by then I'll move far, far away, and there'll be I'll have no newspaper clippings or no internet available to them. But I'm pretty much screwed, I think. I think that's the... Yeah.
Claire, Lee, and then we'll go Jill Irwin right behind Claire.
Claire Beelang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. 2 quick questions. The first is, how does the fact that there's no qualifying today, practice today, and then qualifying tomorrow shake it up for you? And second is, I talked to Jack this week, and he was happy with the way the race turned out, but I think given all that's going on with you and your contract and he would love to see performance be great for you and you to get the win. How much does that play into what your decision-making is?
So the qualifying and the schedule this weekend is a little different. It will make it a little tougher to finish practice in the Cup car today, sleep the whole night, and then run your qualifying lap tomorrow. That's a little different than normal. It feels a little different. I think it'll be neat. I think that the new qualifying draw situation is going to be pretty cool. Yeah, I thought a little bit about how much that win might have been worth, contract negotiation-wise, but really, all you can do is put yourself in those positions to try to have a chance to win, and you're going to win some, you're not going to win some, and the best thing is that we didn't wreck. Trevor and I weren't wrecking each other and somebody else winning. I mean, we raced, we respected one another, and really we've got a win, and a second right now. I mean, that's a pretty good 3-race stretch. If we can continue that, I mean, that's all you can do in this sport is perform the best you can and hope that you get those results. Those are some good results for me. I don't think in my career I've had a 3-race stretch that's better than that.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. With the appearances that you were doing the past week, did you feel a little different buzz when you were out among the public when it came to NASCAR? Because it seemed like, everything changed in the last couple of weeks, and it just seemed to be a buzz out there. And with you being one of the faces of NASCAR, how do you think it was perceived among the fan base?
I think it was very good. I'll tell you what, I went to the Cartoon Network's Hall of Game awards ceremony, which is like, full on, Justin Bieber mania, just the kids everywhere. It was pretty neat. And there were a lot of people there talking about this 20-year-old that won the Daytona 500. I mean, there was a real buzz at this Cartoon Network Awards thing. You know, with Kobe Bryant was there and T.O. and Venus Williams. And people knew what was going on. And yesterday I went to Vegas, and same thing there. People were pumped about it. I have one fan, this young girl who's, I guess I used to be her favorite driver. The text I got from her after the race was, I need to know a little bit more about this Bain kid. He's cute. You know, she's about his age. So I think that's the general feeling, that he's a new guy on the scene. He's positive for the sport. I think that's pretty cool.
We'll go Jill and then come up front and get Brian and Jay.
Jill Irwin, NASCAR.com. Carl, you talked about, or Jimmy and Kevin talked earlier today about kind of being on the short end of the points right now with this new point system. You're obviously in a much better position. Kind of how do you think the new points are going to shake out? Does it make it harder for people to come back from a bad start at Daytona?
The thing is that at the end of the year, we'll probably all have about the same number of bad days. If you have a real bad day, you have an engine blow up early or something, then that does make it tougher, the way the points are spread. I mean, the 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, that's a pretty bad day. So you can't have too many of those. I'm very, very glad that we at least made it through, the bottleneck that is Daytona. We made it through one of the riskiest races in the first part of the season with almost the maximum number of points we could get. That's huge for us. So, I mean, we could have trouble on the first lap here and be in the same position as those guys and wash away that whole advantage that we have right now. So there's a lot of racing left, and I think in the end the points it'll work out about the same.
Brian.
Carl, during last Sunday's race, did you have the opportunity to talk to other drivers, your competitors, when you were racing, and how did that work? Would you like to see that more? How did that fall out for you?
Well, it was necessary on Sunday, I thought, for safety. I thought it was necessary for the guys in front to be able to say, wrecking, stop. That's a lot quicker than telling a spotter seeing it and telling the guy behind. I don't think we need that in the cars at every track. I don't, but it was it did help. It was good that everyone worked together and we were able to kind of do that. Because you just can't see anything. If there's one thing that could make that whole thing safer, it'd be a way to see through that spoiler. I don't know if there's a way to make it out of something stiff enough that's transparent, but that would help a lot. You just can't see being the guy behind.
Jay.
Jay Hart, Yahoo Sports. One of the things that sort of struck me about this past week with hearing everybody talk about Trevor is it's almost like this universal respect for him. And obviously, I think at Daytona 500 earned you some respect, but he's 20 and he's only had 2 starts. Can you just sort of talk about the respect factor in the garage for this kid and how it happened so fast?
Yeah, but I can only give you my opinion, but yes, he won the Daytona 500, but he had my respect before that. He's like a number of the young guys coming in. Him, I know David Reagan pretty well, Ricky Stenhouse. That's a group of 3 guys. I'm trying to think of other guys off the top of my head. Joey Logano. It seems like he's one of a group of these young guys that come in and they just treat people right, and they earn that respect off of the racetrack, so that when they do something good, people are happy for them. And that's really hard to do. I think it says a lot more about them as people than it does about them as race car drivers.